everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a book haul and unhaul. So as I just said, this video today is going to be both a book haul and an unhaul. The unhaul part I actually filmed about 2 months ago at this point, and then various things happened and I just didn't quite manage to get it up. So I figured that I would show you the unhaul and show you the haul. So I think I'm going to go through and put the footage of the unhaul on now, and then when you come back we'll go through all the books that I've bought recently. So today I have 10 books that I am going to be sending out into the world and hoping that other people will pick it up and enjoy them. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. The first book that I am unhauling today is actually The Song of Achilles. I'm only unhauling this one because I have 2 copies. So if you guys saw my big birthday book haul, I will link it in the description below. You will know that due to my own mistake, 2 people sent me a copy of this book. So thank you again to Joe and to Paige for both being amazing and sending me a copy of this book. I have read it, I absolutely loved it, but I don't need 2 copies. So this one is going to my amazing friend Tanya, and yeah, I hope she enjoys it as well. Next up, we have The Oyster Girl by Ren Fraser Cameron. When I purchased this one, I was super excited to read it. I started reading it, I don't know when, but I started reading it, and I only read about 10 pages. I wasn't really feeling it at the time, and I put it down 100% intending to pick it back up again and read it, but I just have really lost all interest in it. So there's no point in keeping it if I have no interest in reading it. I can always try and find it in the library if at any point I decide I want to read it. So yeah, I'm not going to keep this one. It is beautiful though, so I'm a bit sad about that, but what can you do? This is a version of Lutruwita, Tasmania, that you have never read. A novel of the sea and sailing that tells the story of an island through the eyes of an unforgettable woman, Pearl McQueen, the Oyster Girl. Next up is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I did read this. I've actually read it twice. I enjoyed it both times. I gave it 5 stars, although at the time I think that was slightly over hyped. Kind of bought into the hype, but I did give it 4 stars upon reread. I did really enjoy it, but I honestly just don't think I'm going to reread it. So there's no point in having it sitting on my shelf and languishing when other people could be enjoying it. So I'm going to, again, send this out into the world and hopefully someone else will enjoy it. This follows the son of the President of the United States and the Prince of England, and they start out with a enemies relationship that develops into a friendship and then a romance. Yeah, like I said, it's quite good, it's enjoyable, but I don't think I'm going to reread it, so someone else should get some joy out of it. Then we have Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. This is a graphic novel. It is really sweet and really pretty. I did enjoy it, but again, I just honestly don't think I'm going to reread it. And again, there's just no point in something sitting on my shelf if I'm not going to reread it. There are a lot more people out there who I think would get a lot more joy out of this one and love of this one, so I think it should go out into the world. The next one I'm a little concerned about as well. I'm already worried I'm getting a little bit of hate for the last 2 that I unhauled, and this one is the same, but it is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I read this one recently. It was okay. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 or possibly 3.5 stars, but again, I honestly don't think I'm going to reread it, and again, there's just no point in holding on to something you're not going to reread. It's just going to sit on the shelf, gather dust. So I am going to get rid of it. Yeah, this one is it's not really a romance because I don't really think that the 2 treat each other particularly well in order to call it romantic, but it is a relationship story between Connell and Marianne. It is about them growing up and figuring out what they want and who they are and having a relationship of a sort at the same time. I didn't make it sound that great, but like I said, I did enjoy it, but I just, just why keep it if I'm not going to reach for it again? Then we have a book that I have held on to for years and years and literally never read, and that is The Early History of Rome by Livy. This is a very old edition of this book. This edition was published in 1960. As you can tell from how incredibly beaten up and discoloured it is. It is very old. It is exactly what it says on the tin, the early history of Rome. I definitely used this for essays and whatnot in the past in my undergrad degree. I honestly don't know why I've held on to it. It has come with me all the way from New South Wales. I don't know what I was thinking because I don't think I was ever going to reread it. I think I held on to a lot of my textbooks and stuff from that time because I really enjoyed the experience of studying classics and I just want to have them. But this is not one that I purchased it secondhand. It's not one that I really need to have on my shelf, so I'm getting rid of it. I don't even know if it's going to wind up being taken by my local or any of my local secondhand bookstores because it's really beaten up. The next one is Dancing with the Octopus by Deborah Harding. This was sent to me by Chloe from Chloe Reads Books. Thank you very much, Chloe. I don't think she'll mind me getting rid of it though because she got a bunch of these copies of this book from the publisher as part of her Chloe's Crime Scene Corner book club, and so she had a competition and you could win the book, and I won the book, so she sent it to me for that. I read it as part of Chloe's Crime Scene Corner. It was interesting, but again, I just don't think I'm going to reach for it again, so again, there is no point in it being on my shelf. So yeah. This is a true crime story about Deborah Harding, and it starts out with her being kidnapped and raped and left to die. But it says, what if this wasn't the most traumatic defining event in her childhood? So this is about growing up with lots of bad stuff happening and trauma, and yeah, like I said, it was interesting, it was well written, it was worth a read, but I'm just not going to go back to it, so it's going to go elsewhere and hopefully be appreciated. The next one is actually a unhaul of Rowan's, so yeah. But I am unhauling it for us, and that is Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. Neither of us have read this one. It is a memoir from Barack Obama.
It was in a box in a garage sale.
There you go. It was in a box in a garage sale, so Rowan picked it up because he was interested to read it, but we just haven't read it, and I don't think either of us are necessarily super amazed by Barack Obama. I mean, I know that, like, you know, wow, a black man president, and he did a lot of great stuff, but he did some kind of crap stuff as well. And he's still very much a centrist, and we are very much left. So just no point in reading it if we're not going to read it. Just no point in keeping it, I should say, if we're not going to read it. Someone else will get appreciation out of it, so it's going to go. Then I have a book that I got in the book box that I just ordered that was going to be sent with a bunch of books that I didn't know anything about. And I actually don't think I've kept almost any of those books. So I definitely won't be doing that again because there's really no point in that. But anyway, that is Unprecedented, The Masters and Me, Tiger Woods. So this is another kind of memoir. I don't know if it's a memoir or if it's an autobiography. I think it may be ghostwritten. This is with Lorne Rubinstein, who I think has ghostwritten it. But yeah, I'm not really interested in golf or Tiger Woods at all. I am pretty certain that Rowan isn't either, so we're not going to read it, so there is no point in us having it, and it take up space in our shelf and all the things I've already said, so it's going to go. And the final book that I am getting rid of today is What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. If you guys have been around since the beginning, you will probably be a little surprised to see that I'm getting rid of this book because I have in the past said Liane Moriarty is one of my favourite authors. I kind of feel like maybe that's not the case anymore because I've read other stuff that I've enjoyed more. But either way, I didn't love this one. I've loved some of her other books. This wasn't one of them. I didn't hate it. It was still interesting and I still had a good time. But I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't think I'm going to come back to it. There were a few things that I wasn't super impressed with. So again, there is no point in having it on my shelves if I'm not going to read it. Those are all the books that I have unhauled. So my haul now. This is from the last few months, so starting in June and going through till like now. I will just say that I was on a bit of a book buying slowdown, which I think I may have to put myself back on again. So rather than a book buying ban, I decided to do a thing whereby I can only buy one book for every 5 books that I've read on my owned TBR. So it couldn't include books that I got from the library or anything like that, but any books that I was either given or bought. Once I'd read 5, I could buy a book. But then I went to Melbourne in June and met up with Ellie, so of course meeting another booktuber, one has to go shopping. Then I went to Queensland in July and met up with Lana, same thing again. And then just recently I have bought a few different books for a few different reasons, so yeah. It hasn't entirely gone to plan, so I may have to do a book buying slowdown again, but anyway, for now I'm just going to go through and show you the books that I bought in the last few months. Also, there are actually 2 videos where we have done a book scavenger hunt. So we asked a bunch of people to give us prompts and we used those prompts to buy books. That scavenger hunt is on my channel, kind of vlog style. I will link it below so you can go and check that out if you haven't already. If you have, of course, you'll be familiar with these books. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time rushing through them. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time talking through exactly everything about them. I might do it a bit quicker. And then the same thing with Lana. That video is on her channel, so I'll link that below as well. But yeah, let's go through and talk about the books that I have purchased. Okay. So I'm going to start with the scavenger hunt that I did with Ellie. So the first book is Wild and Wicked Things by Frances May. So we follow a few different characters, one of whom, Annie Mason. She's not interested in magic at all, but she decides to go to try and reconnect with her best friend on Crow Island, and while she's there she comes across Emmeline Delacroix, who's rumoured to be a witch, and Annie witnesses a confrontation between her best friend and Emmeline and is drawn into a haunted world of Crow Island. So I think that sounds really, really cool, and yeah, I'm excited to read this one. I picked up Peach Blossom Spring by Melissa Fu. One of my favourite tropes is generational sagas, families with various different generations, and talking about how various things that they went through have reverberated down the generations. It says, spanning continents and generations, Peach Blossom Spring is a bold and moving look at the history of modern China, told through the story of one family. It's about the power of our past, the hope for a better future, and the search for a place to call home. And again, I think this is just an absolutely beautiful cover, so I'm really excited for that one as well. I'm going to try really hard not to say excited for about everything, but okay. So I picked up this one, The Women of Troy by Pat Barker. This follows Helen, all that beauty, all that grace, and she was just a mouldy old bone for feral dogs to fight over. Cassandra, Amina, Hecuba, and Briseis. So it follows Women of Troy, and it's after the Trojan War, and yeah, so it kind of follows on from the events that happen in the Iliad, and follows the different women that live in Troy and how they were affected by what happened. I'm really excited for this one, and I've heard really great things about Pat Barker. Just said I wasn't going to say excited all the time, and there I went. I'm excited for all these books. I studied Greek and Roman mythology at university for my undergrad degree, and I read the Iliad and the Odyssey for my ancient literature course, so I'm excited to actually have now a few books that deal with the Trojan War and different retellings, taking a feminist bent, so I'm super excited about this one. And then also in that trip, in that scavenger hunt, I picked up Electra by Jennifer Saint. Again, these covers are just gorgeous. This is probably my favourite cover that I've picked up for this year. So this also follows Briseis, Cassandra, Clytemnestra, and yeah, so talking about the women who... So Clytemnestra is one of the Greek women, but the other two are Trojan women. So it follows them after the Trojan War as well. So that'll be interesting to read a different perspective as well. Quite a few Trojan War books, like I said. I am planning a vlog, actually, or something like that. Anyway, so those are all the books that I picked up in that scavenger hunt. The next day, Michelle and I went to another bookstore and I picked up Gallant by V.E. Schwab, which I have already read. This one follows 16-year-old Olivia Pryor. She's an orphan and she doesn't really know much about her family or what happened to her family, particularly her mother. She has a diary belonging to her mother that she has read millions of times throughout her life, and at the end of the diary it says don't go to Gallant, but then she gets a letter from her uncle asking her to come to Gallant. So she goes to Gallant, and then it turns out things are not quite what they seem, and lots of weird creepy things are going on. Another cover that's just absolutely stunning, and I really enjoyed this book. I will put it back. Okay, then we have the scavenger hunt that I did with Lana, so I'll do that one now. I just realised that when grabbing all these books off various shelves, I totally forgot to grab one of the ones that I also bought when I was doing the scavenger hunt with Ellie, Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. But yeah, I do have it. I just can't think off the top of my head exactly where I've put it, and I'm already filming. So anyway, I'll put the cover here, but I do own it. This is a story about a pandemic, and that's all I'm going to say. Partly because it's all I really know, but also because I feel like, you know, we might be in spoiler territory. Anyway, then I've got 3 books from the scavenger hunt that I did with Lana. I picked up The Silence of Shaharazade by Daphne Suman. So this is another generational historical fiction. I am over halfway through, but I put it down because of other TBRs and other things, and I haven't just picked it up again, but I definitely want to because I was really enjoying it. It's a little bit slow, and it's literary historical fiction, so, you know, it takes a little while to get through, but yeah, it's really interesting. Plus another absolutely stunning cover. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I've read this one already and really, really enjoyed it. This is a sapphic romance between Delilah Green, which is this one here, and Claire. I cannot remember her surname. Claire is the best friend, or one of the best friends, of Delilah's estranged half-sister. Delilah goes back to her hometown and forms a connection with Claire. Again, really enjoy this cover as well. I went for She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. So this is about a young woman who, set in 1345, I think it's one of those like historical fantasy type books. Herself and her twin brother are taken to like a fortune teller, and the fortune teller gives her brother this amazing destiny and her nothing, basically. But then her brother dies, so she pretends to be her brother and takes on his destiny, basically. And again, look at that absolutely stunning cover. All of these books, like I keep saying, I'm very excited for. I've heard nothing but amazing things about She Who Became the Sun, so super, super want to read that as soon as possible. But I say that all the time, so who knows. Then picked up this book here, which is The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince by Robin Hobb. There's a story in the realm of the Elderlings that is kind of known to the characters. So it's part of their culture about the Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince, and this is that story. We are getting there. Then I won a giveaway over on Instagram, and the account that did the giveaway was Catnaps Books, and their account will be in the description below, so you can go and check them out as well. And they sent me Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, which is again just an absolutely amazingly beautiful cover. I don't know a huge amount about this one, but I think it's another sort of historical fantasy, and it is raised on the moon. Jin Yin was unaware she was being hidden from the celestial emperor, who exiled her mother for stealing the elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and Jin Yin's existence is discovered, she's forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. So I think that it is based on Chinese mythology, so it says in the back here, inspired by the legend of Chang Yi, the moon goddess, this captivating debut weaves Chinese mythology into a sweeping adventure of love and family, immortals and magic. Sounds absolutely beautiful. I've heard really good things, and like I keep saying, the cover is amazing. Very grateful to have it. Thank you so much, Catnaps Books. Okay, so this isn't technically part of my haul, but I'm including it because I'm intrigued by it. And this is one that Rowan picked up at the airport, and that is It Looks Like Us by Alison Ames. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know anything about it. Believe that it is a post-apocalyptic dystopian novel. Rowan seemed to be enjoying it, so at some point I'll read it also. But yeah, wanted to include it because it's coming to my library. And then last month I read Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman and absolutely, absolutely loved it. Was completely blown away by it. And on the strength of that, I went and bought her most recent book, Enclave. Again, like I said, Claire G. Coleman. So this is a science fiction about a woman called Christine. I'm just going to read a little bit of this blurb to you. The Enclave was the only world she knew. The world outside was not safe. Staying or leaving was not a choice she had the power to make. But then Christine dared to start thinking, and from that moment, danger was everywhere. So, yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. And then I ordered in a couple of books for Last to Read Book Club, which is the book club that Ellie, Lana and myself run for the next couple of months. So one of those was a pre-order, but I'm going to put it in here because, yeah, I just am, because I ordered it at the same time, even though I haven't actually got it yet, and that is The Killing Code by Amari. So this is an historical fiction murder mystery book. I don't know a huge amount about this one as well. I'm quite happy to go in fairly blind, but I really enjoyed the Every Breath series by Amari, and I'm looking forward to reading another book of hers. And then I also ordered and have received Sugar by Carly Nugent. So this is the Last to Read Book Club book for November. This is a young adult contemporary about a woman called Persephone. Some people get exactly what they deserve, and as it turns out, I deserve to be called Persephone, bringer of destruction. That pretty much sums it up. It is a story of a 16-year-old girl trying to make sense of the life-changing events that have sent her world into a spin, her search for a reason behind it, and ultimately her acceptance of life's randomness. And one of the reasons why we wanted to read this book is because this has diabetes rep in it, and November is diabetes month, so we thought that would fit in really well. Another really, really beautiful cover. And then when I went into the bookstore to pick up Sugar, I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure that Amari and the Great Game should be out by now. So I had a look, and of course it was there, and of course I grabbed it. So I have Amari and the Great Game, another incredible, incredible cover. This is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. Hi.
Kiss break.
Kiss break. Pistachio break. Meow! So this is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. This is a story about Amari, and Amari's brother goes missing, and then one day she gets this kind of letter saying that she should try and audition for I can't remember what they call it, but it's like kind of a Ministry of Supernatural Affairs or something like that. Anyway, these are the kind of organization that keeps humanity out of the knowledge of the fact that supernatural things exist, and Amari tries out for it and discovers some stuff, and lots of adventures happen. It's really, really good. I know I didn't do a great job of describing it, but I kind of don't want to give spoilers. But anyway, as you can see, I am part way through this one, enjoying it so much at the moment, and yeah, really happy to have this one and be reading it. Also on that same trip to the bookstore, I picked up The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker, because I realised that the book that I've already spoken to you about, The Women of Troy, was actually the second book that came after The Silence of the Girls. So this is about Helen being kidnapped, and then it's also about Briseis. So this is more a retelling of the actual events of the Iliad, which I'm very excited to read because it is a feminist retelling of the events of the Iliad. Like I said before, I've read the Iliad and the Odyssey and enjoyed both of them, although they're not the easiest reads. But yeah, I'm so excited to read a feminist retelling of the myth. Also, these have these lovely French flaps, which are really cool. And then the last two books that I have to talk to you about, I have A Thousand Ships by Natalie Haynes, which is another Trojan War retelling from a feminist perspective. So this one follows Creusa. So it says, from the Trojan women whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greeks, to the Amazon princess who fought Achilles on their behalf, to Penelope awaiting the return of Odysseus, to the three goddesses whose feud started it all, these are the stories of the women embroiled in the legendary war. But yeah, so this also looks really, really good. I'm very intrigued to read all of these. So thank you, Paige. That is so, so nice of you. And yeah, I can't wait to read it with you. And then also she sent me this absolutely beautiful little book here, which is Galatia by Madeline Miller. So this is a short story that is a retelling of a woman called Galatia who was created by a statue maker into a statue, and then he basically was completely obsessed with his statue, and he asked the goddess, I can't remember which goddess it was, but a goddess, I feel like Aphrodite probably, to turn Galatia into an actual woman, which she did, but then he didn't really like how that all turned out. But yeah, anyway, it is a feminist retelling from Galatia's point of view. The original was in Ovid's Metamorphoses. I'm not sure where else it would have appeared. I'm pretty sure it would have appeared elsewhere, but certainly that's where we have it. But yeah, so she sent me this. I have read it already. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like 60 pages long. It took me about 40 minutes to read, and I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you so much, Paige. So those are all the books that I wanted to share with you that I have purchased over the last few months. Also, like I said, you will have, of course, seen the Unhaul part as well. But yeah, that's it from me today. Please comment below what your thoughts are on the books that I am getting rid of or the books that I have hauled. Let me know if you've read any of them, what you thought of them, etc. Have you hauled anything you're particularly excited about recently? Let me know all that in the comments as well. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me something kind of mythological, because I have quite a bit of mythology in here, retellings of various different sorts, so leave me something that is kind of mythological. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.